Hello, hello, hello. It's Friday. It's Chocy Chat. It's episode 158. It's the end of November. If anybody can let me know where this year's gone, because I'm still trying to find it. I can't believe we're in November already. Where has the year gone? So, hello, hello. There's Billy there. I can see you. How are you? How's the mint? We love a bit of mint bonbons. Good call on doing it with the fondant cream as well. That's a good idea. Elena, hello, how are you? Nadia, I can see. Erin, how are you? How's the storm damage, Erin? Who else have we got there? Kathy there, Temper. Hashim, walaikum salam. Sugar and Spice Bake Shop, hello, that's a new name, welcome. Lonely there in Denmark. Who else have we got? Now I've got to remember where everybody is, haven't I? So, Abdullah again, I think, is in Bahrain. Good evening, Chocy Chat crew. Christian Hindle. Christina's up in Edinburgh. She's at the W Hotel, very, very talented pastry chef, working up there. It's 8:30 on a Friday night. Is it not busy? Is it not very busy, Christina? Oh, don't tell me you got the night off. Paula's there at Fusion Chocolate. Paula, I just saw that thing that you posted. Is that second-hand equipment? I need to have a chat with you about that. How's everybody doing? Andrew there up in Aberdeen, styling chocolates, oil bakes. How's everybody? Chocolate creams, hello my friend. Always busy. That's a good thing, right? But you're in the pastry section with Chocy Chat on, aren't you? So, Emma there, down. There's ES Chocolates. That's Emma. That's down in Sydney. Stuart's there, Blind Chocolatier. Alice, how are you? Another one just up the road from me. Okay, yeah, send me a message. I'm going to chat to you about that. Hang on, there was nothing. I had a brutal week this week. Another brutal week. I think it's the same for everybody, right? You just got to do the hours. I did do a post earlier today saying keep going because this is it now, isn't it? Really, till the end of what, Easter, probably April time. I think there's some incredible stuff being posted at the minute, and I think clearly there's some people that are very, very tired, and they've got markets and all sorts of stuff going on. So possibly slow down now you've got all the product made. Have a week or two off over Christmas, and then it starts again, doesn't it? Getting ready for Valentine's and Easter and Mother's Day and all that kind of stuff. So Harriet, hello, how are you? Blind Chocolatier saying the shop's ready for the market. Just the floor to do. Happy days. Working the long hours. Philippe there in Austria. I think you're in Vienna, aren't you? You are. Choco Starlux, welcome. You got questions far ahead. Lost my throat. I lost my voice. Don't know what's going on. I'm on the Ribena again, so that's all I drink. No, I do. I drink coffee and Ribena. Ribena's my drink of choice. Always. We're fully stocked up. Just full, absolutely full on at the minute. Doing chocolates, doing colours, doing all those other bits and pieces as well. Silk bars mostly. Lots of that stuff happening. At the minute. So, you gonna come say hello?
Yes.
Sharon's gonna come say hello. You normally come and say hello at the end.
Hello, everybody.
Tell me what you're making. You're making stuff. You're on the
Good
kitchen
night.
table. You're making stuff on the kitchen table. What are you making?
Body scrub.
You're making body scrubs.
Just saying, everybody. When I get a channel, please go watch it.
When you get a channel, you're a few years away from having a channel.
At least a business.
Okay.
If I get a business, you...
What?
Hello.
What?
I really want to get a big factory, and I want to produce handmade body scrub. I'm going to show you my body scrub.
Go show us the boat. She's made body scrubs tonight. Right? Just make stuff, right? Just make stuff, trial stuff. Two things happen in business. You'll either give up and it will never work, or you keep going and it will work, right? That's the choice, isn't it? So Life Berries in Sharjah, I can see. Walaikum salam. Bruce there, I think, is in California. Bruce was here with me on a class a couple of weeks ago. Seems like a couple of weeks ago. Paulie, folding chocolates, folding boxes. I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to do that anymore. That's why we invested into the packaging. The time spent folding boxes, just the packing is just definitely something. Like when I say you invest into, took me 4 or 5 months to kind of make the decision and say, right, yeah, this is the right route to go. It's going to be worth doing. But yeah, the joy of not having to fold boxes now is just, I love it. I love it. If I'm honest, if I started the business again, I'd have bought Easy Temper sooner, and I'd have bought boxes sooner. Looking at it. Packing, so tired. Thank you for the post. Very encouraging. I get lots of messages during the week. Things have gone wrong. Things haven't happened. How should I do this? How should I do that? And I don't think they're necessarily looking for me to solve the problem, but it's what's my thoughts on an issue or a problem. And I've got the unique ability that I'm not involved in that business. So and I talk to lots of other businesses. So sometimes, very often, I come up with a solution that something they've not thought about. What's happened with me in my career over the years is I never tried to solve problems during work time. So you have day-to-day issues, things that just need solving, little things that, I think running a business is just solving little problems all day long. But when you get big problems that need solving, you can't do it when you're in work. You've kind of got to remove yourself so that you can analyse truly what's happening. When you have big problems that need solving, they will have a financial impact, or they'll have a time impact, and you might have to solve 1 or 2 problems like that a month. And when they're big things, when it's a purchase or you're moving or you're changing a kitchen round or designing something, I think you have to remove yourself completely from the process, completely clear your mind, and then hit it normal again, right? So I did that little post earlier that, like, most of your problems, 99% of your problems are how you look at it as opposed to how you solve it. What's your perspective on that problem? So you're going to show us this. Right, tell us what's in this then. Sarah's going to show us. That is your, what are you going to call it?
I'm calling
Can I smell it?
It smells like flowers.
That smells really nice.
It's meant to smell good because
It smells really nice. And it's a body scrub.
Homemade.
It's a body scrub.
You can even make it yourself.
Okay, you're not going
It's
to give your
very
secret away.
easy.
You're not going to give your secret recipe away.
Of course I am.
You're not.
You're a chocolate.
You're not going to give your secrets
you
away.
teach people
Yeah,
chocolate. I teach people
yeah, but
everything.
we haven't got this to market yet, so you can't give people the secret before you got it to market.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know. So I didn't know.
What are you going to call it?
You did not.
What are you going to call it? That smells really nice.
Soft lily.
Softer lily.
Soft lily.
Softer lily. That smells really nice.
Of course it does.
And it's a body scrub,
It's
so
a girl
have I
thing.
got to put it on my eyes and ears and things, or
No,
Okay.
it is not for your eyes. You can put it on your face. You're not allowed to put
You can't-
it on your. You're not allowed to eat it. It will not taste good.
Okay, so
Only
it
the
just smells
sugar
nice.
will. Only the sugar.
But you know the rule: if it's not 100% tasty, there's no point. Oh, that's food.
It's not chocolate.
Oh, okay. All right.
It is
There's
not
a
a
lesson.
food.
There's a
So
lesson. If it's
This
not-
is a lesson.
If it's
and
not
this-
100% tasty, there's no point. It does smell nice though. You're going to tell me the secret
I'm
of what's
going
in
to
there.
show you how drippy it is.
Please don't get it on my camera. Let's see. Chocodilics there. Say hello to Evelyn, Dr.
Hello,
Mara down in
Chocodilics.
Johannesburg, I think.
Johannesburg, hello.
Sugar Spice Bake Shop.
Hi, Sugar
Everybody's
Spice
folding
Shop.
boxes tonight. So you're going to have a whole body package at your house, lip and body. Yeah, it's all going on in a minute. Lip gloss.
Yes.
The lip glosses. I'm
If
hoping.
you would like to buy it, it could.
I'm hoping. I'm
give you a
hoping.
free discount sometime.
Free
if you-
Don't discount. Set your price.
I'll set the price and if you-
Don't ever try and win a piece of business by discounting. Set your price and honour it, right?
That's another lesson for everybody.
Um,
It's an honourable, perfect lesson.
Stuart's saying he gave his mum all the boxes to put together. Good idea.
Nice.
Sophie's, everybody's joining us tonight.
Yes, we are.
Um,
Right, okay.
Flying Banana, how you doing, mate? Gosh, there's lots. I'm going to go for no trade secrets. No trade secrets. Not yet. Don't give the secrets away until you got to market, right? Am I adding the body scrub to the menu? No, but I said to all three of them that Rani and I said to all three of them that start your own business, and we will help support that. I think one thing this country needs right now is more entrepreneurs, more people that start businesses and create work and create jobs, and that requires business owners. It's a good thing. It's tough. I don't think schools encourage entrepreneurship. They see it as a risk. I think working 45 years in a company sat at the same desk to get a pension that you can barely live on is a risk, if I'm honest. So, Mrs. So Sassy's just sent me a message saying I'm live. I know. But we're encouraging them to do their own businesses, right? So, like the people that are sat here, Chocy Chat on it's a Friday night and we're discussing chocolate. I hope somebody's going to ask me a question in a minute. So, Alice, what's the best way to book classes? Should I message? I'm not doing any classes at the minute. I'm just absolutely to say that I'm absolutely swamped at the moment with chocolate orders, with contract orders, and then the colours. I was in here at 5:15 this morning, and I finished at about 7 o'clock tonight. And tomorrow I will probably... Beautiful sunrise this morning. If anybody saw the sunrise on southern England this morning, like beautiful pink sky this morning. The classes, it's hard for me to schedule them. I think the challenge I have with the classes is I have to schedule my time and your time, and it's very difficult with everything else that's going on. Sarah wants to tell you something.
Just saying, guys, if you don't know if you're going to like it or not, I can give you some samples for you to try instead. But if you want to pay,
you're going to be my sales director, aren't you? For eventually,
if you want to pay, it's
right?
really okay.
If you want to pay, it's okay.
If you want to pay for the free sample, then you can.
It's not
all
free.
right. It's all right.
Wait, if they pay for the sample, it's not a free sample, is it?
But maybe.
I think you might come under the Trade Descriptions Act there, right?
It's a free sample.
Let's get
and
them.
If they want to
let's
pay,
get the products.
Let the guests do what they want to do.
You are just.
Even if it's chocolate, like tiny. I have a chocolate to show you.
And that's my day, pretty much in a nutshell. We start at 6 a.m. And then they start doing school homework and all that kind of stuff, and they get distracted with making things like this or making
as well as making thingies.
That's one of my chocolates.
Yes, I found it.
What flavour is that one?
Peppermint. Wait, it tasted like mint, not peppermint.
It's peppermint caramel. Shall I eat it? I'll prove it to you. No,
I'll eat it for you.
No, let me talk to these people.
Okay, everyone, free samples.
Do you want to take that one away? Because it smells so nice, otherwise I'll eat it.
Everybody, if you have the free sample, do not eat it. It's not a food. It's
Okay,
not a
I think we
food
know
sample.
that.
It's not a food sample. It is a body sample. You put it on your body. If you do not put it on your body, it's a safety.
It's like a radio, isn't it? It's just. Where's that sound? Show me where the sound button is.
There's no sound button.
There's no sound button.
Yes, there is.
Bye then. Bye.
Okay.
Bye. Bye then.
Bye. And also, the free samples are really good.
Oh, loud. We call it a loudspeaker. It's like a social hand grenade that comes in. Oh dear me, that's my whole day. Everything's four of them, right? So as I say, booking classes. But probably when I get to the new year, we'll start back with the classes. But at the moment, it's absolutely full time. Just topping up and doing this. It's hundreds and hundreds of bottles being made a day just to keep up with what we're doing at the minute, which is absolutely fantastic, but something had to give, and it was the classes just had to shift over a tiny bit. So she's going to have an amazing business, cheering for you. We'll pay the full price. Happy days. we need to get the product to market first. Like, I tell you what they do like doing. They love creating new products and then reading the ingredients on products that are in market. We've done a lot of work so that they know what ingredients are and whether it's to make, because everything's under what we call FD and C, so food, drug or cosmetics, right? So they're all under the kind of same legislation. So it's got to be, if it's food, if it's cosmetic and drug, it's going to be food safe. If it's drug safe, it will be food safe. If it's cosmetic safe, it will be drug and food safe. So that's the way that the system works. So, but they're reading all these products that go into it, and I say, well, just go and research it and find out what it is, what does it do, and where does it come from, and why do they have that ingredient in there. So they're just off doing their full, but it's no real different to the chocolate industry or the food industry, where you say, I've got this ingredient, I've got wasabi paste, I don't know what it does, go and research it. I've got dextrose, or I've got sorbitol, or I've got maltose is another kind of extending sugar. If you go off and research them, and you can eventually lead you down a rabbit hole. I think the challenge that the human race has right now is people Google something and they just go to page one. And what that does is it gives you the answer, it doesn't give you the knowledge. And I think that what we've done with the girls, and certainly my experience, is you'd have to go and read about it, and you'd have to go and read lots and lots and lots about it. And what it did is grow your knowledge. Having the answer is one thing, having the knowledge to back all that up, that's a totally different game. So, philosophical, isn't it, for evening? Chocy Mara, I'm packing custom orders this evening. Nice to know everyone's at work at this time. I think everybody's doing 7 days a week at the minute. 7 days a week, you either packing boxes, cleaning, tempering, painting, spraying, or just answering emails and running your business, right? So thanks for the melange info. Yeah, that Flying Banana, that's exactly the same tilting melange that I use. Chocolate by Miss Switz saying, I haven't been here for ages, great to see everyone work. Yeah, it's all good. Sophia so sassy joined. We had a trading standards going around our Christmas market today, picking everyone's stall to bits. It was awful. I know they've got their job to do, but yeah, they're quite hot on markets. I think they're kind of like the fun place, aren't they? They have a job to do. And believe it or not, markets are quite a hot spot for people trying to break the rules or mis-sell or be doing things that they shouldn't be doing. Markets come under a lot of scrutiny, and it's a captured audience as well, because once they go in, they can come and have a chat to you, right? So, Creative Confections from the San Francisco Bay Area, good to be here. You're welcome, very, very welcome. So, you received the chocolates. Well, interestingly, the box of chocolates have gone out kind of all over the planet. Truly amazed how well they've all travelled. Because when I had the cardboard boxes with the inserts, and we packed like paper trays in and all that kind of stuff, 1 out of 20 would get damaged, or there'd be a little damage in it. But so far, 100% hit. So cost of the package didn't pay for itself, right? So definitely. Chocolates by the macaroon, yeah, what scales you use to weigh your hot chocolate powder bags? Then, as I had them with me, they weighed a bag. I always do more than the label. It's an interesting thing with the trading. So the Weights and Measures Act is, and we do with our scales, is they go off every year to be recalibrated. So we got 2 sets. We have 2 sets of scales. And under the Weights and Measures Act, you're allowed to be up or down. Like with these bottles, so we will make, so they are auto-dosed, but then we have to do a drip in there. And the only way I can explain it is, if some of you get the bottles, it doesn't lie flat. What there is a little, that's not a good example of it. Let me find a good example of it. There's normally a bit that sits up, which is a drip. Yeah, there you go, there's one. So it doesn't sit flat. There's an extra bit that goes on the top. So that they're auto-dosed to the right thing, and then we go along and put a drip in every single one of them, just so that we are above that minimum net weight. You'd be amazed how many people sell things by weight and it doesn't reach the weight, and it's, yeah, you kind of feel like, you know, ripped off of it. They do give you some allowance per 1,000 units, but just in case there's a machine. But trading standards, yeah, they should be going around, they should be weighing things, they should just be checking that the public are getting what's they're being told. And you'd be amazed how many markets people are trading and doing things that they shouldn't be. But like things with the scales, certainly for the UK, we have to have 2 sets of scales, and they have to have a certificate that goes with them. So they are trading standard kind of certificated scales. So one goes off. So we have 2 permanently here, but one goes off to be recalibrated. So I've always got 1 set here. Tough gig. Yeah, they want to see everything. So tough gig. I've 2 boys, and the 3rd one is husband. Love this happy, cheerful girl. Such different energy from boys. Yeah. 5 girls actually, because there's a cat now as well, right? They are, Philippe, the chocolates are for eating. I gave somebody chocolates the other day and they're like, oh, they look too nice to eat. No, they're for eating. Finish them and come buy more. We really like the shape of them. Yes, it is 5, that mould is 539. I only use 539. I've got various moulds. I use the 539. I like the straight edge. I like the straight edge on it. And it's 13 gram. And I have another one that's a 13 gram. But when you put them side by side in a box, these look bigger. And I think there is, not always going to say there's a size issue. However, it's the perception when you open the box. If I looked at this one, anybody that does those flat domes, and I think there's another one on the market, anybody does that, that's 11 grams and that's the 13 grams. There's only 2 grams in it. When you put those ones in the box next to those ones, they look half the size. Kind of look like you're being ripped off. So I like, 539 in plasmold. You know, we've got that's all 539 apart from those there. They're all 539s. Another 50 or 60 up there as well. So it's a nice mould. It's once I've got the grips in it, it's quite a nice mould to use as well. Actually, quite sturdy. So. Bridget Fritz, how are you? James, you're the king of Chocolate Kingdom. Love these chocolate chats. You're absolutely welcome. If you've got questions, fire them over. I'll do my best. People always say my chocolates are too pretty to eat. My answer is they're too tasty not to eat. It's one of those things. I think if you do markets, people are like, what are they? Are they shiny? Or what was the one the other day? They look like marbles. No, they're not marbles. That's just, how do I get the shiny plastic off it? That's my skills. They look shiny because I'm really good at what I do. Who do you go to get your scales calibrated from? The people that I buy them from. County scale. I use county scales. There is a list of approved scales that you can buy. You can't just, like, I've got these. I've got a set of those which we'll use for if I'm measuring ingredients or bits and pieces, or if I'm measuring something like I do packaging in here, we'll use that one. For these, they're county scales. They ain't cheap. They come with a certificate, and we had to buy 2 sets because that's what the law says. So, county scales. There are 4 or 5 scales that you can buy, but trading standards will have the list of which ones to use, or your local trading standards have the one that you're allowed to use, and they need to remain in certificate. These are all the little back areas of business that, you know, like if you're selling a 50 gram bar, it needs to be 50 grams. It can be over. It can't be significantly over. But the minimum weight would need to be 50 grams. And if they measure 10 of them and none of them are, you're probably going to get your stock taken away. And a slap on the wrist. So it's just kind of it's always worth just been on that right side of the law, right? There is food. There's the food safety side of it, which environmental health deal with, and then anything to do with like labelling, batch coding, all the labels that go on the inside of the, I don't know if I've got any here, all the labels that go on the inside of the chocolate. I don't have any here, they're all in the boxes. Anything that goes on the inside of the labelling laws, that came from trading standards, not environmental health. It's always, there's always this kind of area that people think it's enforced by environmental health. It's not. Somebody gets food poisoning from your chocolate, yes, it's an environmental health issue. If you give somebody peanuts and it's not on the label and they get really, really poorly, environmental health and trading standards will be the people that come and talk to you, and it'd be trading standards that process, because the standards were set out by the government and trading standards are the one that uphold that. So they're two separate things. And they don't always work side by side. I don't think they really like each other either, right? Any news on the wee grips for the molds yet? Availability, point of contact. Yeah, if you go to my highlights, if you go to the highlights on my page, there's one of the little circles says grips, and it's the guy that I use is called Mr. Zardos Mark. They're based in the USA, but they're back in the UK a lot. He makes all the grips. It's not my business. I don't stock them, I don't sell them. But he came here, he gave me loads of them, and I've always used them. But yeah, have a look on my highlights. I think there's information there on the grips and where to get them from. So it's also on the Chocy Chat page. Do you have to state the weight of bars? Yes. Yes, you do. If you're selling it by weight, see, my debate was always, was this mils or was this grams? Because when I weigh it, it's a liquid, but then it solidifies, so it come under grammage because it's not. So mils and grams are the same, but what should I put on the label? So we do it as grams. If you sell something as a stated weight, you have to prove that it sits at that weight, and the only way you can prove that is to use a set of scales, and the only way that you can prove that those scales are accurate is to have a certificate where they are calibrated by a company that's authorized to do that. So if you're selling 50 gram bars, they need to be weighed on certified scales. Anything, it's the Weights and Measures Act, right? It's the Weights and Measures Act. It's no difference to bars that have 125 centilitres written on the side of wine glasses or on pint glasses, all that kind of thing. That's all to do with the, you get the optics, where they put the glass underneath the thing and it says 25 mil, 50 mil. They will measure those. Trading standards will go to garages, and they will weigh off a litre. They'll weigh off an exact litre of fuel to see whether it's calibrated with the pumps. The pumps have to be calibrated. So if you're selling something by weight, yes, you have to state what that weight is. And if you're weighing a product, it's got to be on calibrated scales. That's the law. It's really, really, yeah, for the grips, go and have a look on the, or have I got one here with the grips in it? Where are they? Tend to be these ones, do they? The little blue grips. I only put 2 on, but it just means that I've got a little bit more purchase to hold on to them, because I think everybody knows this time of year, 1 or 2 molds, not a problem. By the time you get to 10, 20, 30, 40, I'm riddled with arthritis in my hands and hips and feet and legs and ankles and everywhere. So yeah, by the time I get through 4 or 5 molds, my I don't really have much strength left in there. So it just gives me a chance to, I can hold on to it with just my thumb and 2 fingers. Just gives me, I don't really find that I need one in the middle, but yeah, 2 is more than enough for me. Don't put them in the dishwasher though, because they'll melt. They're resin printed, so they will kind of melt in the dishwasher at too high a heat, right? But can I have a look at on my highlights? I'll tell you where they come from. James, I'm a chocolate fan now, working on my own inclusion bar creation. I have easy temper, still tempering issue. Bars are shiny, exposed side. Her swirls is 22 Celsius, too warm for my kitchen. 22 is not too warm for your kitchen. A couple of things with pouring bars. You will find that the first you'll find that the first one that you pour doesn't have swirls in it, and then the next one and the next one will have little swirls in it. A more fluid. One of the things you can do is so once you've poured, right, it's just to tap it gently. As soon as I start seeing that kind of skin over, we will get that into a cold fridge. I will put it in the fridge at 8 degrees. We'll put it in the fridge at 8 degrees and give it a good shock of cold for 3, 4, 5 minutes maximum. Not much more than that. I think the biggest challenge we have with using Easy Temper, it tempers perfectly. It's the chocolate that's in the bowl as you're pouring, right? And it's the chocolate that gets stuck all on this leading edge, and that's cooling down, okay? And then you're pouring chocolate over the lift it, and it's this little drip that causes this tail, right? As you're pouring it, and you'll see if you have a look at. If you look at the direction that you pour the first one and then you come off. If you pour the next one, you'll find that the tails go off to the kind of back right. You give it a little tap. I think with bars is in between pouring each one, you just need to give this a really, really good mix. Make sure you've got a bit of this nearby just to give that leading edge a little bit of a wipe, right? And then you can pour again. But very often, it's the chocolate that's really, really well mixed, and you'll know. Everybody will recognise this. Like if you're working in the right light, when you're mixing chocolate, when you leave it to stand a little bit, it doesn't look like it's mixed. Like you can see, well, not like an oil slick, but like a kind of similar pattern. You've got to keep agitating it to keep it mixed. Okay, and then give the bowl a good tap, get the air bubbles out of it, get the air bubbles out here, and then you can pour, clean up that edge, give it a wipe, go to the next one, right? As soon as they skin over though, I would get them in the fridge. We get them in the fridge at 8 degrees, so we'll give them a good tap. We'll leave them at room temperature. 22 is not too. I mean, it'd be ideal to be a little bit cooler, but if it's too cool, you end up with problems on this side, right? So. It's okay to pour at 22, but try pouring the chocolate a little bit warmer. If you're using Easy Temper, you can pour at 32, or you can pour at 32 and a half. It's in temper, right? You're not shelling, you're just filling a bar, right? So I would pour a little bit warmer. I wouldn't let it cool down too much. As soon as it's skinned over, get it in the fridge, 3, 4, 5 minutes. As soon as that looks solid, then we bring them out and we'll just leave them to cool. And then turn them out after, again, less than 5, 6 minutes. Once it's fully solid, we will turn them all out. So, can you sell them as a small bar and a large bar, or do you have to state the weight? I think you have to state the weight. I know people. I mean, one of the things of putting inclusions on the bars is that. You can make the weight up, right? You can make, so you can pour the chocolate. Don't quote me on this because I'm trying to rack my brains right now, but if you poured a 90-gram bar and then you put the nuts on it, you'd be overweight. What you can't do is pour a bar that's 80 grams and call it a 90-gram bar because it includes all the nuts and things. So have a read at the government website, because it's, again, the Weights and Measures Act is so complicated. You'll need to read it 10 times before you say, do I still understand it or not? Whilst they're all following the same thing, a little bit like environmental health, they all have their own best practices of what they like to cover in their area. And that's the other thing that you kind of need to, what they do in North Yorkshire might not necessarily be the same that they do in Hertfordshire, or they do in Essex, or they do in Surrey. So my true understanding is, yes, it would need to be weight. Right, you'd need to tell you what the weight is. I love the variety of information and support on here. I feel a bit overwhelmed, self-doubting sometimes on this new business journey, and I look forward to Friday chat. If you've got questions, oil bakes, fire away. If I know the answer, I'll answer. If I don't know the answer, I'll tell you I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and bluff every night. It is daunting starting a business. I tell you what, it's little steps, right? I think because people look at Instagram, they look at all these other businesses, they kind of feel like they should run before they can walk. learn how to paint nicely, learn how to do amazing fillers. You'd be much better doing a couple of fillings that are amazing and sell boxes of 2 flavors than to attempt doing 12 flavors where 60% of them aren't amazing, right? Because you feel like you have to offer that variety. Tomorrow, I'm just going to do boxes of salt caramels. Because that's what people are asking for, right? And then also I got a request if I could just have the mint caramel or as a box on its own, nothing. So we're going to have a look at those. Whilst we do a collection of many, there are some people that just wanted the mint caramel. That's all they want to eat, nothing else ever, or just the salt caramel. So there's nothing wrong with limiting down what you're doing until you get more practice at what you're doing, you know, because it's not just making chocolate's one thing. Making it safely is another thing. Learning about the business side of it when it starts getting towards accounts and VAT thresholds and Weights and Measures Act and all this other stuff, all this has got to be considered on top of possibly having another business or another job or all these other bits and pieces, right? So I wouldn't self-doubt. If you can make nice chocolates, like your average, and I've said this, but I think I've said this before to a lot of people, that your average, you know, my average product for a lot of people is something they've never ever seen before. So my average is expert level, and a lot of the public haven't seen this stuff, right? A lot of the public have never seen these, right? A lot of the public have never ever seen them, okay? So I wouldn't worry about the imperfections. I wouldn't look at, you know, if your capping is a little bit bumpy, it gets better as you do more and more and more. And I don't, you know, nobody's ever not bought chocolate because my caps weren't great, right? Nobody's never bought chocolate because they didn't like the design. Actually, it's all about the taste, and it's about people buy these and it's a gift, right? There's not many people that, I say that, there's not many people who have bought these for themselves. There are, because I know there's quite a few here that bought chocolates for themselves, and I appreciate that. But for the majority of my customers, they like what I make, and whatever I make, they buy. But they've got an interest in what I'm doing. It's not always about the chocolate, right? So you need to make nice designs that aren't complicated, shell them with some good accuracy, fill them with a really good tasty filling, and your description should be enticing enough but not kind of bullshitty. They need to be capped nicely so that the filling stays in, and they need to go into some packaging that's sympathetic, that resonates with you. You don't need expensive packaging, also you don't want cheap packaging if you're posting stuff. I wouldn't self-doubt. What self-doubt tends to come from, I'm not doing as well as all the other people are doing. And that's a dangerous game. And with social media, that's a really dangerous game. Like prior to social media, I worked years as a chef. The only way we would either read the Sunday Times food supplement, where Michael Winner went to the most expensive restaurant I couldn't afford to go to anyway, or we heard about these new places, and as a group of 4 chefs, we would go and eat somewhere new, and then just get a ton of ideas and bring that back to work and try and duplicate it, replicate it. I think the challenge of social media is all out there, and I could go through all these. I could go through every single chocolate. There's the girls' ones. I could go through every single chocolate and bring out like the shiniest one, okay, like glass. Or I could be really honest and say, there's one, and I know exactly what that is. That little chip is this. You know where sometimes you get one stuck in the mould, okay? And the one that was left in the mould, I went to tap it and I clipped it with the edge of this. I'm not going to put that in a box. I'm not. Social media tends to pick the very nicest ones and says, look at my chocolates, right? I think that the self-doubt comes from measuring yourself against people that are showing the best chocolate that they've got out of 100. And I think what you need to have the self-doubt Don't doubt yourself. Make something amazing. Make something amazing to your standards. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. And you know, I think they say 10,000 hours to be an expert, but 1,000 hours makes you competent, and 1,000 hours is a month's worth of work, right? So you can get there without a doubt. Marzipan for panning. Do you just make a firmer marzipan? Yeah, you can, or dry it out a little bit, Stuart. Cut them into squares, leave them to air dry. If you've got I don't know if you've got any of the Calpol pre-dust. Not pre-dust, so what's the name of it? It's like a powder that you put on beforehand. Yeah, pre-dust, right? But yeah, cut them and let them dry out a little bit, Stuart, and then they'll be absolutely fine. So, and don't put too many in at a time, otherwise you get, if any are soft, if you get any pieces break off, that's fine. You can filter those out as they're panning. With marzipan, with the squares, because you've got square edges, if you can roll them, that'd be even better, and dry them like that. But if you've got the little squares, don't put too many in at once, and don't tumble it too fast, otherwise you end up with even more edges in there, and then you get little balls that are really faceted, which can look nice, but not when you come to shine them, right? Hadn't heard of Implast till you mentioned them. Good range on their website. Do you rate their molds better than CW? Yeah, I do. I know that Chocolate World say if it breaks, we'll replace it. I think that I've only got this size from Chocolate World. That one is a nightmare. I nearly sentenced in hands then. They keep putting bloody holes in it, right? And the last thing I want is a hole in a mould, because when I start, I know I've got chocolate on my hand. Now I've got it underneath the mould, and somebody said, well, you could super glue them. No, I don't want to super glue my moulds. I want a mould that hasn't got a hole cut in it, because they want to sell me two that sandwich together. Not all of them are like that. I do find their moulds a little bit difficult to hold on to. I've got a couple of more here. That's the same one. There's just nothing to grip onto underneath at all. Annoying. Is that a Chocolate World? That one is not. No. Is that one there? Yeah, that's one there. Look. That's a Chocolate World. That's another one that's just, the bit for me to hold underneath under there is probably 2 mils deep. There is literally nothing to hold on to. So, do I rate them better? I'll tell you what. All my molds for normal production are Implast. And some of the ones that I've got here have had 5-6 years, so, and they're still going and they're still working absolutely, and they're fine. Did somebody just ask me about does washing molds in the dishwasher do damage them? Philippe, not something I would do. If you do put them in the dishwasher, the challenge you have is, like for this one here as an example. Where are you? Where have you gone? That's got some cocoa butter in it. If I put that in the dishwasher, that doesn't come out. So I still got to put a sponge in it. It'll get rid of. Thing is, if your molds are really dirty and they've got chocolate all around the outside, if you put them in the dishwasher, you end up with the whole mold's a little bit misty, like covered in cocoa butter. So you still got to go through and clean them. It's not going to damage them. It's not something I do. Would I recommend it? Occasionally we will put them in, but without a tablet, because the dishwasher tablets tend to be alkaline, not acid, and alkaline will make over time will make the polycarbonate like it goes opaque, it goes like grey, see-through, right? So like this, just goes a little bit dull. When I look at the newer ones, like they're really see-through. This is not as see-through as it used to be. I tell you what, we will make the chocolate, we'll tap everything out. If anything's really bad, we'll give some of the cavities a clean. We'll hair dry them and give them a good buff, and then they're kind of ready to use again. If I do need to wash them, it's in a sink with running warm water, enough to melt the chocolate, to clean each cavity. We'll shake them dry, and then we will just completely repolish the whole lot. The challenge you have is the more you polish the molds, the more you scratch them. You get micro scratches, and you scratch the inside. So work neat and tidy. Like when you spray, clean the mold down, right? So it looks nice. If you look at any of my videos, you can see my process. So we'll spray and we'll clean the mold down. If I get any underneath, we'll just keep cleaning as we're going along, all right? Because I think that like cleaning as you go along is much better than getting to the end and spending an hour cleaning. I'd rather use an hour during that process, even if it adds 2 minutes onto each process, right? And then we'll shell. And if I get chocolate down there, not a problem. We'll wipe it all off. You make mess, you get drips. It happens, right? When that chocolate's drying in that dry phase, we will give all those edges a clean. I do this with the students on the hands-on class because what we're trying to do is to get to the end so it looks like an absolute brand new mould. And then when we cap, you tend to get all this chocolate left over on these seams, right? Looks like overspray. Once the chocolates are out, bear it, you know, as long as you haven't had any major mishaps like denting them or anything, they should drop out nice and clean, the cavities. Now all I need to do is go over it with a hairdryer. When you cap, you tend to get chocolate down these edges. That's, again, it's not a problem. We'll get, what I do is, where's my cloth? We put a couple of these down. And I put the hairdryer on them so they're hot. These are hot. And then we'll just wipe the mould across them, right? We'll wipe the roll across them and we'll get rid of all the chocolate off all the edges. It's not a problem. Like if I don't make it, there's another one, look. It's got holes in it. I don't know if anybody else suffering with holes that are in the moulds. Like I just think it's the most ridiculous marketing gimmick. The last thing I want, that's a chocolate world. 1673 Frank Hasnut. I just don't want chocolate in my palms while I'm. I don't like making mess when I'm working, right? And if it gets on the mould, and if it gets on my hands, and it gets on the mould, it's on the fridge door. Not only have I got the mould to clean, but I've also got the fridge to clean and the shelves to clean and everything else to clean. I just don't, you know. What were we saying? Use the dishwasher, but just don't do it too often. You know, try not to make mess. And if you do make mess, clean it as you're going along. You'll find that you get to the end, and you should have all of these were used and just warmed and wiped down, every single one. From the chocolate, there's an example. There's some cocoa butter on the edge of this one. A little bit of cocoa butter on the edge there. That's underneath. So I can keep them nice and clean. It takes work, it takes practice, but like if you don't make mess, you won't have mess to clean up, right? So well, why do I get bubbles when tipping out the excess chocolate making shells? Do you mean bubbles there? If you mean bubbles there, that's just the thickness of the chocolate. Tap a little bit harder and it will come out. And when you scrape, you'll burst those bubbles anyway, right? So Mariba's joined us there. She's at a market shortly down in New Zealand. I'm planning to freeze my box assortments. Do you think the caramel bonbons will crack? No, they shouldn't do. There's virtually no water in caramel. The one that causes the problem is the fluid fruit gels, right? If you thin them down, they're the ones that cause you problems on freezing. So. Is it okay to put my bonbons in the refrigerator? Yeah, mine are. Those are in the fridge. Those are in the fridge, and I guarantee these are in the fridge. These are at 8 degrees, and they've come to room temperature, and they are still beautiful, beautiful, shiny. They are like glass. It's odd, right? They're as shiny with the plastic on as they are with the plastic off. Who knew? Yeah, they'll be fine. Keep them covered. Keep them wrapped. These are family ones. I want to say they're rejects. They weren't. It was overproduction. Plus, I was testing. I made a new blue colour. Not sure if I'm going to use it yet, but let me put those away. Yeah, I was testing a new blue. I had like a few minutes. I made the colour. And I had a few minutes and I just grabbed the mould and started spraying. And it's like, what are you doing, James? You've got so many other things to do now you're playing. So, yes, you can put them in the fridge. Just if you can get them airtight, I think what's important, if you put chocolates in the fridge, bring them back to room temperature. Let them, leave them at room temperature 15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever it is, until they come back to room temperature before you handle them. When you take them out, they will mist over. And if you touch them at that point, you'll leave great big finger marks all over the chocolate. So you'll try and avoid that if you can. I do single flavours. I'm so busy teaching chocolate now. Nothing wrong with doing single flavours at all. People, we are immersed in the chocolate process. So we're looking at Instagram, we're looking at what everybody else is doing, we're looking at all the kind of fakery and, look at my chocolates, it's amazing. I think that the majority of the public they don't. I've had people say to me, the girls do gym, they go to gymnastics a couple of times a week, and we took some there, and they're like, they've never seen them before in their life. They're like, I've never even seen chocolate like that, ever. So there's nothing wrong. You don't have to have. I do 15 flavours because that's what I like doing, right? That suits me. I don't find flavour. I don't find that difficult. Okay, but I've also had kind of 36, 37 years of playing in kitchens, so I don't find flavour difficult. I've also worked at a level where I can make something from an empty fridge, right? You don't have to. That's what I do. 15 flavours. That suits me. You don't have to do that. I've got boxes of 15. I could do 5 rows of 3 flavours. Not a problem at all. We're going to do some boxes that are just single flavour because you've got to make stuff that customers want to buy, right? Forest Road Chocolates. How are you? Gosh, lots of names here. Yeah, the holes in the moulds are an absolute pain. It just annoys and I do, like when I have hands-on classes here, because I'm teaching, I look down, it's all on the floor where we're here, and it's over your shoes, and now it's on your apron, and you're just kidding me, right? Please send me a mould with a hole in it. Said no chef anywhere, right? Yeah, Karen, the Implast moulds are wide. They are heavy, they are chunky, they are heavy duty. I've got a few that don't have the grips in, if I'm honest, and I struggle with those ones. If I'm 40 or 50 moulds in, yeah, my wrists just start failing. I don't have the strength to do it. And we'll stand one of those up, right? We'll stand a mould up, you can see, and I'll just balance it on there just to give my hands, and I can hold it, push down on it, and I can tap, right? But I end up getting a couple of moulds, but they are wide. What I would say, here's a trick. Let me show you a trick. When you're capping, I don't ever teach. I never teach capping. I got a scraper that's in a decent state. Yeah, I do. I never teach capping holding the mould up, right? Let me show you what I mean. Cocoa butter on that. So, once you've poured your chocolate on, I don't ever recommend you hold this up, right? Because what happens is when you go like that, you end up flicking chocolate miles. It looks good for camera. You end up flicking chocolate miles, but as soon as you tilt that, chocolate runs downhill. Now your caps aren't level. I would hope the majority of people are working on a flat table. If you're not working on a flat table, do something about it. If you pull that to the edge, you can get your finger under the edge there. And even if I've got silicone mats, right, so we'll always cap onto a silicone mat, right? It's easy to catch up. All we'll do is just put that at an angle so it overlaps here. Look. If I put that on, I can hold it with my finger, and then I can tap that way, right? And then all I need to do is move it to the edge, give it a little tap, okay, just to make it all level. If I want level caps, I need a level table, and if I hold it up in the air and do it, I am not going to be level. It's going to tilt, and I'm going to end up with caps that you could drive a car, motorbike up, right? Also find it a little bit easier to pour on a table that's flat, right? So once all your chocolate's on and you've spread it out, tempered chocolate, warm it to, if it's tempered chocolate, so we would like maybe we'll melt it to 34, we'll add silk to it, we'll blend the silk in, but we'll use it at 33, right? We'll tap the air bubbles out, yeah? We'll pour the chocolate on, we'll give it a very gentle move around quickly, 20-second job capping, and then as soon as I'm happy with that, I'm not going to lift it up and tap it, because then I'm going to tilt it everywhere. I'm going to tap it on the table. And you'll see it will fill all those holes. Pull it to the edge. Get your pinky under the corner and you'll be able to, you don't have to hold on to it then. Pinky on the edge of the corner, get rid of it, pull it to the side, give it a little tap, put it away. As soon as that starts skinning over, it's going in the fridge. And I'll show you the caps. That's exactly how I do it. Nice and flat. I just pick random ones out. The white one, nice and flat. There's a nice dark one. So perfectly capped, right? I'm not into this capping twice. Capping twice. You can't do it right the first time. Maybe you shouldn't be doing it, right? And I know the trick is put untempered chocolate down and then afterwards go over with tempered chocolate. I ain't putting untempered chocolate anywhere near anything I make, ever. Because I ain't a cowboy. Not how I roll. Again, little capping. There's no easy way to practice capping. I think that's the hardest thing about it, right? If you're using silk, we'd warm the chocolate to 34, we'd grate the silk in. I just do half the amount, right? For capping, I just do half the amount. So if I got a kilo, I wouldn't do 10 grams. I'd just put like 4 or 5 grams in there, blend that through, make sure that's all well and truly blended through. And I'd cap when the chocolate's at 33, because at 33, the chocolate's more fluid. When you tap it, it will find its own level faster. Capping is a process of pouring chocolate on the top, making it fill all the molds, all the voids, and then scraping away the excess. Scrape fast in a straight line and you won't get chocolate all down the edge. If you scrape really slowly, yeah, you will end up with chocolate all the way down here, okay? Then it's all over your hands, then it's underneath the mold, then it's on the fridge door, it's in the fridge, it's on your apron, and now the whole street needs cleaning, right? Work clean and tidy, clean as you go. If you're at a machine, you don't have much of an option to cap, but there's nothing wrong with going into a machine and then just going to the edge of it and tapping. If you get the air bubbles out of the chocolate here, you won't need to start tapping, getting the chocolate bubbles out here, right? It's such a logical thing. So capping's easy. I think once you understand what's happening, the challenge is that there's no real way to practice it. You've got to actually make chocolates, right? And a more fluid chocolate, so a 4-drop chocolate always caps better. White chocolates and the gold chocolate always caps really, really nice because it's a little bit more fluid. I know it says it's a 3-drop. I don't think it's near a 4-drop. And white chocolate is always a little bit more fluid. It's always thinner, and it fills all the voids. So, you know, when you cap with white chocolate, you look at it and you're like, oh, I'm amazing. And then you do it with a thick dark, like or like an 823 and 811, you're like, oh dear me. So use chocolate at 33, it's absolutely fine. Can you tell us how you record dates for production for fillings and finished chocolates? Batch at a time. We will do batches, and then I'll write where did the cream come from, where did the sugar come from. I've got invoices that ties into. This is standard food safety policy, right? If you've got safer food, better business, if you're following the safer food, better business policy, it's standard HACCP. You record deliveries, and then you tie that into the production, and then the use by dates. I use my phone to know when I've got production dates. The other thing that the lowest shelf life filling will be the end date of those chocolates, right? So I could have a whole collection of of caramels and pralines that got 6 months on it, but as soon as I've got a ganache in there, we're down to 4 weeks, right? So, and then on top of that, we tell the customers to consume them within 15 days. I know they will last much, much longer than that. Straightforward process. The dates, you should know the filling shelf life of chocolate. You should know how far it's going to last. You shouldn't be putting anything in a chocolate unless you know roughly how long it's going to last. Because what you don't want to do is put something in with no idea if you're challenged on it. Because if it does go mouldy, you've got no comeback. You've got no due diligence to stand up on. So, and due diligence is some evidence to display or protect you from it went wrong, right? Do you have separate moulds reserved for different types of chocolate, or do you just clean them really well before switching? No, all the moulds do everything, and they're cleaned in between, each batch. I don't. We would do collections. I mean, the way that we look at the food allergen is we are in a kitchen that handles multiple allergens of nuts, gluten, sesame seeds, and whilst the collection might not contain any of those elements, they were made in a kitchen that has them. So that's the first thing that we would say. Milk white dark, we don't have separate molds, we don't separate them out. So chocolate spicy, hello. Love the new blue, it was nice, right? Overproduction, how very yeah. That makes sense. A level table will make level caps. Funny that, isn't it? And this is, I have business calls with people who are really struggling with things, cracked shells and all sorts of stuff. And one of them was like, I can't get none of the caps are flat. And I was like, just talk me through what you do. And they're like, well, we just, I was like, right, where does that there? And they're like, we'll put that on the table. And they're wiggling this thing around. I'm like, it's all dripping off while you're talking to me. So, yeah. Everything I said that Chocy Chat and my teaching anyway was to get rid of the complicated jargon of chefs trying to sound tricksy with big fancy words, right? Retraction is no different to shrinking. So once I poured the chocolate in and it's cooled, once those beta crystals bind up, that shell will start shrinking and it will come out of the mold. That's what retraction is. Same as capping, getting the bubbles out of here means you won't have to stand doing that, because why are we doing that? We're just trying to do that to get the bubbles to come to the surface, not trying to burst the bubbles. That process is about getting the bubbles to rise to the surface so they're not at the bottom. But you have to get quite a lot of banging. But if there aren't bubbles in there, we can just roll it round. The trick of once you pour the chocolate on is getting rid of what we don't need, saves all the mess. All right, so there's lots of posts. Go back and have a look at them. I did a shelling I did a live shelling, didn't I, a while back on the on a Chocy Chat. Maybe I need to pin that to the top. So yeah, don't make capping any more complicated than we're going to put chocolate on that's quite fluid. We're going to put chocolate on the mould that's quite fluid. If we put too much on, the only place it can go is over the sides, right? So a bit more, not multitasking, nothing else is going on. Clear the decks, have lots of space, stack everything up. We're going to pour the chocolate on. We're going to help it move round. We're going to tap it level, quickly get rid of what we don't need, give it another little tap and it will just level out, because that's what chocolate do. If I pour chocolate onto this mat, okay, and I give it a ripple, all that chocolate will go nice and level. It's no different to that process, right? So easy, right? It's all easy. How do I make my ganache firmer? When I bite into it, my ganache doesn't have any bite to it. More chocolate that's got, if you want a ganache to have a little bit more bite to it, you can add cocoa butter to it, which will solidify at room temperature. I wouldn't add dairy butter, because dairy butter at room temperature is very, very soft, right? So it doesn't, people put it into caramels, but it doesn't really make much of a change to the texture. because at room temperature, and if room temperature is 21, dairy butter at room temperature at 21 is quite soft, right? Softer than silk. So you can add more chocolate to it, cocoa mass, or you can add cocoa butter. That will firm up. That will always firm up a filling, always. May well extend shelf life. It would extend shelf life, but hard to measure by how much. So, James, you use an app to record and track all the info? No, I don't. We use paper. Where are you? Oh, I think it's in the office. Is it here? All production. It's all on sheets. It's all done, you know, as we do it. Where did the cream come from? Where's the chocolate from? What's the batch code? I'm not a big fan of apps because I don't want to open my phone every time I'm doing something. We will have boards on the side, and I'll write stuff as we're going along. So, hello from Tunisia. I have a question, please. After tempering the chocolate and putting it on a piping bag, don't we risk that the chocolate goes under the right temper? Yeah, it does. I think the problem with putting chocolate into a piping bag is, where do you put the pipe? If you put the piping bag down, whatever surface it was touching, that layer is going to cool down. I'm not a big fan of. I know people put fillings in piping bags and tie a big knot on it and line it all up, but the problem is, by the time you get to the 8th piping bag, it's set, right? So no, don't need to. Karen King, no more wiggling rolls around in the air. No, don't do it. Don't need to. Right, it's gone 9:30. God, it's well and truly gone 9:30. I'm going to tidy up. If you are interested in the class in Bahrain, send me a message. There's a few limited spots left now. Looking forward to doing that. It's going to be a great class. It's an amazing facility. It's a 2-day class. Absolutely incredible facility that we've got. So with absolutely every bit of kitchen equipment you can imagine. We're going to do the whole bonbon process, start to finish, airbrushing, the whole thing. So if you're interested, certainly send me a message and I'll give you the link to go and register for that class in Bahrain. I think it's the 15th to the 19th. It's 2-day classes. So have a great week, Chocolatiers, Chocolate Chat crew. Keep going. You're not even halfway. Keep going. Have a tidy up. Have a rest day. If you've got problems, make a pot of tea, step back, have a think about the issue, and then resolve it. It is money-making time right now. Keep going. All right? Have an amazing week. I will see you in a few hours for the next episode. It feels like that, doesn't it? Have a good one, everybody.